What is discipline? Discipline is to work and behave in a controlled way by enforcing obedience. It's basically giving up control. Discipline and learning how to have self-discipline is something you learn as a child by your parents. When you are a child, you are helpless and you need your parents' guidance to navigate through the world. And part of that is your parents taking control of things, not being controlling, but taking control of things and enforcing obedience, telling you what to do, and you feeling like you can listen and you can trust what they have to say and that they have your best interest at heart. So their job is to enforce obedience. Obedience is when you are compliant to a request. In order to be compliant to a request as a human, there needs to be some sort of trust and respect in order to listen to that request and to do that request. People that are genuinely disciplined and have learned self-discipline, you know, those people that eat their vegetables, they go to the gym consistently, they go after things that they want. Those people had parents they felt like they could trust and respect and love, and they knew that they had their best interests at heart and they could follow them. They really were shown that their parent was trying to do what was best for them and that they could depend on this parent. This then created habits of them wanting to love themselves and wanting to do better for themselves because their parents taught them how to have a good relationship with things that are not necessarily the most fun, but things that they genuinely want and things that will better their life. Now, what kind of parents did you have if you have no self-discipline? You didn't feel like you had parents that you could trust and respect. Maybe they were inconsistent. Maybe they didn't enforce things. But the way that you lack the discipline will come out in two ways. So one, it's not like you have absolutely no self-discipline, but the only times you really have discipline is when it comes to work or when it comes to doing things for others. This is more of an anxiety or image-based discipline, and even maybe a shame-based discipline. So what most likely happened is you had abusive or authoritarian parents put the fear of God in you, or they made you feel absolutely terrible when you didn't do what they had told you to do. This creates a lack of trust and a lack of respect, and more so creates an environment where you do things out of the fear of consequences. They didn't make doing uncomfortable things feel comfortable and safe. You learn to do these things to either make you look good or so you didn't get in trouble. You also will notice that you are someone more so that feels angry or sad or resentful. And this is because you're not doing the things that you genuinely want. You're doing the things that you feel like you have to do, so that way you don't have to deal with some sort of consequences, or you don't feel shame, or you don't look bad. You aren't doing the things that you feel are genuinely beneficial and the things that you want to do, but more so have become a slave to your environment and a slave to your fears and insecurities, just like you felt like a slave to your parents' demands. So basically, you're not living in authenticity. You're not doing what you genuinely want. You're not being authentic towards yourself. What you will notice is that it's very easy for you to do things for others, or, you know, to do things for someone that has authority of you, like a boss. But when it comes to yourself, you have a really hard time being able to go to the gym or eat healthy, take care of yourself, maybe accomplish things that you really want to accomplish, or do things to better your life. You are so uncomfortable and just like have this block of not being able to do those things, as you never had a parent that made you feel safe and taught you how to be uncomfortable or get comfortable being uncomfortable in those situations. The hard stuff doesn't feel okay to do. In your childhood, there was no feelings of love or knowing that your parent was suggesting you do these things to better your life. Maybe they would say it and consciously you would have those thoughts, but subconsciously you didn't feel good. You didn't feel it was right. So you didn't learn the act of self-discipline because they didn't teach you how to do that hard stuff, you know, how to do things that are genuinely healthy for you. Now as an adult, you will follow what society tells you or what society thinks or what your parents tell you to do. And you'll do this rather than listening to yourself. So you'll have a want, but you won't be able to do it, partially because you have resentment of always constantly listening to everyone else, and partially because you just don't get that urge. You want to do it, but you don't have that urge to do it. The second thing is you have things you want to do, but you just don't do anything. This can come from having too relaxed parents, neglectful parents, or overbearing parents. These annoying, overbearing parents just barked orders at you and never really enforced anything, or they would do everything for you. Who's really gonna trust and respect that? This again makes one not learn how to do things that make them uncomfortable, or learn how to trust people or things outside of what makes them uncomfortable. So if you're someone that struggles with this, you will just do things that make you feel comfortable. And like I said, you'll have wants, but the thing that makes you comfortable is maybe just kind of sitting on the couch or watching TV or not really doing anything. Because doing something like go to the gym or trying to accomplish a goal, that's really hard and that's difficult. And you didn't learn how to do things that make you uncomfortable. You may also notice you will overly argue and challenge authority figures, or when people try to tell you what to do. You generally will feel pretty lazy, but you have things you want to do, you just feel stuck or trapped in your ways. In both cases, you just don't have an urge to do things for yourself, or you don't know how to be authentically yourself or do things authentically. And in the first case we had talked about, it will appear and look like you are disciplined, but it's not true, genuine discipline. It's that fear and shame-based discipline rather than that actual self-discipline to do things for yourself. Now, how do you become self-disciplined? Well, here are some tips from Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher from the, I think, 18 AD. He was a Roman emperor. And he believes we should find purpose and work in something we truly care about. So here are some of his tips. Identify what you truly want. What is your purpose? This isn't what you think you should do, which should is shame, which again is based on society pressures, your parents' pressures, your peers' pressures. What is your authentic self? What are your own ideals? When you figure out what you truly want, this gives you reason to do a task. Your why is strong. If you are unsure what to do or what to start with, think about something you've been wanting to do, maybe like something small like doing arts or music or whatever it is, or maybe you've had a small problem that you want to work on, like you've been on your phone too much. Just start it. Start a task. That's what's most important, is to dive in and do it immediately as soon as you get the thought, because if you let yourself wander, if you let your mind wander, you'll talk yourself out of it. It's so important that you find a compelling reason to do it and do it till the end. Have an end goal and make sure you keep on until you hit that end goal. Now, if you struggle with completing tasks, don't worry, we're gonna have some tips in here about what you can do to help you complete these tasks. The next one is you have to rely on yourself. So we can't go back to childhood and fix all the mistakes that your parents made. And it's not always the case where you have someone you can depend on to help you be obedient. You do have to, in circumstances, truly rely on yourself. And how you can take action is by making a plan. So you want to set mini milestones. So let's say you have this big goal. That's the end. That's the end of the road. What are many steps you can take that will help you achieve that end goal? It's so important you don't overwhelm yourself, because that will make you feel out of control. That will cause procrastination, which is a place self-discipline cannot exist. So break it down into many tasks, and not only that, but that will give you a sense of control when you can break it down in these small tasks and getting excited about these small tasks that you are doing. If you really are just struggling and you are having a hard time relying on yourself, like let's say this is a deep wound, then you can definitely hire a coach, hire a personal trainer, or an instructor of some sort that you genuinely respect and trust, that can hold you accountable. And you want to do this for a short while, so that way you can build that trust and listen to somebody else for once. And this will help you learn those tools of getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and trusting things outside of your comfort zone. And then you can take that skill with you when you no longer have them. The goal should be to just continue the activity that you want to be doing and completing it. And then you come up with a new goal and completing that, and so on and so on. The next tip is do it every day. Discipline is creating habits and doing it consistently. Failing is inevitable, and that is okay to fail. There's nothing wrong with failure. It should be expected. It's not a matter of failing. It's a matter of what you do after that failure. It's a matter of getting up again and trying again the next day. Every day is a new day. Even if you fail 4, 5, 6, 7 times, whatever it is, how many times, 50 times, get back up and do it again and be consistent with it. You know, what do they do in those motivational football movies or whatever it is? Like the kid falls, he gets pissed, and the coach is like, do it again, do it again. Like, that's what you need. That's creating that discipline. Do it again. This is how you retrain your brain, and you wire those neural pathways, because what fires together wires together, and this is what creates habits in your mind. The next is voluntarily do something that's hard. You constantly want to test yourself and make your life hard in some sort of way. And I know that sounds weird, because like, why the hell would I want to make my life harder? Life is already crappy as it is. I don't think I can get up. I don't like my job. The idea, whatevers. Yes, life can be difficult, but you are voluntarily choosing to do something difficult rather than like difficult things being thrown at you, which is what a lot of people feel like life is. You want to start small and then progress to things of greater value. So you want to make your routine different and a little more difficult. So let's say usually when you come home from work, you put on the TV. Don't put the TV on. Maybe take some time to think, journal. Maybe take cold showers. Stay away from social media. It helps you to see you can do difficult things and live without the need to have constant comfort. The next tip, practice dichotomy of control. Our boy Marcus says, power of a mind not on outside events, and you will find strength. Being distressed by small things, negative thoughts, will take you off course. It will derail you. You want to reinforce what's in your control rather than what's out of your control. When you focus what's in your control, you will reach tranquility. So every time you have a problem, you ask yourself, is there something I can do about this? Is this in my control? If no, then focus on what is in your control and things that you can do in those situations. And do not focus on that, and do not worry. Put worry to the side. The next is, don't be a victim of your circumstances. Thinking things like, this is my parents' fault, I'll never change, I was giving a shitty hand in life. That mentality that things happen to you creates an environment of helplessness and making excuses, which allows you to not achieve that thing. Take things into your own hand of what you can control and what you can do. You want to be the person that takes actions in situations rather than the one that deflects blame. This just causes you to feel helpless and just is easy to make excuses of why you can't do things, because it's everyone else and it's things outside yourself and you have nothing to do with it. Without this, you will resolve personal responsibility, and without ownership, it is hard to complete tasks. The next one is delay gratification. People will often want to immediately give in to their wants, especially after they have completed a task. This isn't the best option to always give in. For instance, let's say that you were trying to get healthy and you're trying to lose weight, and every time after you go to the gym, you go and get a bunch of donuts. That lack of delayed gratification causes you to stay stagnant and not progress. Instead, a way you could delay gratification, not suppress, but just to delay it, is to reward yourself and get a donut at the end of the week. So you will have gone X amount of days. Your goal is that you want to make sure you go to the gym 5 days that week, and the reward is that you get to have that donut at the end of the week. That is a key part of self-discipline, is denying your instant wants to get a bigger reward later on. Delaying donuts will not only get you that donut, but it will also get you those results you were looking for, and it's a double whammy. The next is, don't let people derail you. People will always project their own fears, their own insecurities, and their own negative opinions about things that you're doing. That's because they don't believe that they can do it, so they're projecting their fears that you can't do it either. Now, obviously you can't control, this is outside your control, you can't control what they're saying and them telling you these things, but you are in charge of whose opinion you let in. Letting negative opinions or letting people's opinions you don't genuinely really trust or respect in will only bring you down and cause you to lose in the end, and it's a complete waste of energy. So anytime you hear someone trying to bring you down or telling you you can't do it, just know that it's a projection of their own insecurities, and to not take those things in. Now, don't get me wrong, it is important to hear what others say, but not of the naysayers, not of the people that tell you can't do it, but more so the people that you respect and you trust and you love, and you know that you have their support. Which kind of goes into the next one, which is you are the company you keep. So you want to surround yourself around people that have already completed the tasks that you want to be doing, or they have a consistent schedule or structure or whatever it is, and these people are on their way to completing it, and people that you want to be more like, that have character traits that you're very interested in being more like. These are people that you want to pick their brain, you want to get advice from. These are people that you want to get support from, and you want to ask them, how did they achieve the things that they're achieving? How did they get to where they are now? You know, how did they stay disciplined? Use their experiences to help you on your journey. The people you surround yourself with are the people you become more like. You may notice if you hang around drug addicts, you're more likely to do drugs. If you hang around people that get in trouble, you're more likely to get in trouble. So if you want to succeed, you gotta surround yourself around successful people. So reevaluate who you're hanging around. And the last one, which is so important, and something I always talk about, self-review, especially at the end of the day. This is when you want to check in with yourself and see where you're at. This is where you can see where your weaknesses are, where your strengths are. See where you have progressed. See what you need next. See if what you're doing is what you genuinely want to be doing and you have the motivation there. Asking these questions help you to become more self-aware, which is super important in being able to achieve things. And it can be a good motivator because it's seeing where you're at and where you've progressed. And it's so important to ask yourself things like, what did I do well at today? Where did I fail? Where was I tested? How can I improve? What am I gonna do better tomorrow? It's so important that you see things that you're failing at and messing up at, so that way you know, okay, I need to give my attention a little bit more to this. And I see, it's so important to also notice that progress. So you can see, I have been making progress rather than just focusing on, I didn't achieve my end goal. Say, I'm doing the little tasks I had set for myself, and I'm focusing on the journey rather than the destination. And that makes you feel validated and good because you're like, I am doing something, I'm completing something. Now, it's super important, don't expect yourself to be perfect. And like I said, failure is inevitable. Welcome it with open arms. You are going to fail, and you want yourself to fail, because the only way you learn is through taking risks and through truly failing. The most important thing when you are failing, is something I talk about often, is self-compassion. It's so important that you have compassion for yourself and you don't shame yourself or beat yourself up. Beating yourself up will prolong your process or even cause you to give up on yourself. So be aware of that negative voice in your head, because it's most likely not yours. It's most likely a negative voice from a naysayer or from your parents or from a bully from when you were younger. It's so important to call yourself out and say, this is where I failed at, but without the harsh words and without the negativity, seeing it from an objective point of view. And then when you see where you failed, then you're like, this is what I'm gonna do better tomorrow. This is what I'm gonna fix tomorrow. So you want to validate and be grateful for what you have accomplished and the small things you've done. Always look for the little things, because the little things we don't pay attention to and we never acknowledge or realize, because there's always little things you're improving at that we just ignore or we pass over. And this will help to motivate you to want to continue tomorrow. At the end of the day, always focus on the small little progresses, not the ultimate end goal. So what do you guys think? Leave it all in the comments below. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with someone that you think may need it. Until next time, thanks for watching. Bye, guys. If you're wondering why I'm in a completely different room, it's because I'm having some work done in my bathroom, and there currently is a toilet and a vanity where I usually do my videos. So I didn't really want, it's covered, but I don't really want to do a video next to a toilet, you know? This isn't Missy the Potty. I look very bright. Got my lotion.